All right, we are live. So, coming at you guys today live as a many requested video to share with you guys how in the heck did I get back into Canada and avoid the hotel mandatory stay that the government makes you do. So, hey there, how's it going? If you guys were still following me back in March, I went to Miami for the first time this year and actually had to get quarantined against my will, essentially. So when I talked to my lawyer last time, he said, hey, you could, hey SJ, how's it going? He goes, hey, maybe you could create a letter for yourself, from yourself as a CEO of your own company, and say that it's your sole income and that it was essential to your own business that you came to Miami, etc., etc. Either way, when I got to the border and showed them that letter, they brought like 7 different guards around them and like tried to figure out if this letter was going to work or not. And they were like, no, you don't work in healthcare, so, it's non-essential. So this time when I went to Miami, there was no way in heck I was going to stay in a hotel quarantine because first and foremost, it was $700 for like a 2-night stay, and I don't know about you, but I could have put that $700 to use in a lot better ways versus being forced into a hotel that I couldn't leave or really do anything in. So this time he goes, you know what, you can actually bypass the hotel quarantine if you travel through the border, either through foot, land, pretty much any way except by air. And so I said, well, sign me up, I'm doing that. So what I did was I flew from Miami over to Bellingham, Washington. And I think my flight went Miami to Dallas, Dallas to Seattle, Seattle to Washington, or to Bellingham. And so pretty simple. I did have to change my flights around when I was in Miami because originally I was actually flying into Canada because I was hopeful that they were going to change the restrictions because while I was in Miami, they did look at them, but they still extended them. But I was just trying to be hopeful, so that didn't work out. But essentially what I did was when I got out of the Bellingham airport, I called an Uber and I got Ubered to pretty much as close as I can to the actual border. It was about $48 US for the ride. And then once I got there, me and my little luggage, traveled all the way to the border. And actually, a funny fact, hey Sarah, funny fact was I actually mistakenly went back to the American border without realizing it because I crossed at the Blaine, White Rock border, which is right by British Columbia. And there's something called the Peace Arch there. It's like these huge, you guys will see it in my Instagram profile if you guys go there. But it's called the Peace Arch, and it's like a peace offering pretty much to say that they're never going to reject either Canadians or Americans coming to and from the border. And so when I seen this massive thing, I didn't think I was actually going to come face to face. And so I was taking pictures of it, got so excited and just went the other way. And I went to the border and the guy was grilling me on questions. He goes why do you think you why should we let you in? The borders are closed. And I was like, I'm a Canadian citizen. And then all of a sudden I looked up and there was a sign right above me that said Seattle this way. And I was like, wait, can we pause? I was like, I'm at the American border. I was like, I meant to go back to Canada. I was like, I'm really sorry with that. Such a crazy adventure getting back. Love that you're sharing so openly. Absolutely. Hey, I want to share and just help as many people as I can because I know what it's like to get forced into that place and it wasn't super great. Not even the financial aspect of it, but it sucks to be able to live in a free country but yet you get forced into a place that you don't even want to go and you have to pay for it and it's just this isn't right. You know what I mean? So I was like, hey, listen, I need to go back to the Canadian side, but luckily the security guards were super amazing, and they actually brought me up to where I was. There was a little elevator they brought me because I had my luggage. We're gonna take you to the Canadian side. I was like, thank you so much. Once I got to the Canadian side, super simple. They have to you still have to prove a negative coronavirus test, and so I had my negative test, and then they have your little place of quarantine. They said, is this where you're going to be quarantining for the next 14 days? I said, yes. So you still have to quarantine. I'm in my house and I have to quarantine here for the next 14 days, which I think I'm on day 6 now. Can't quite remember. But it's a lot better to just quarantine at your house the whole time instead of be forced into a place that you don't want to go or you don't want to, spend and wait for a test, to go back home. It just kind of seems redundant, right? And they haven't even released any, exactly, I paid more Canadian to, exactly, it's so true. It is absolutely so true, Sarah, you're bang on. And it's also one of the reasons why I have such a difficult time, accepting it is because to this day, the government hasn't actually released any data saying that the hotel quarantine stays and like making you stay there for 2 to 3 days while you await your results actually do shit. Pardon my French, but they don't do shit, okay? So if the government's not going to release anything and there's actually lawsuits against them, pretty much saying everything that I'm saying, hey, Wi-Fi, that, you know, is it really helping? Is it like, how many people actually crossed the border that even had the virus and then got into the hotel and ended up testing positive and had to stay longer, right? So it's pretty crazy, but, you know, just walk across the freaking border. It works. And so I walked across it, but you can also, like, there's a taxi transfer service that you can also use, like, if you had a vehicle from your previous, like, when you actually left. If you had a vehicle at an airport, you can do a taxi service, transfer service, where they'll pick you up from the airport, bring you to the border, and then they actually call another taxi to meet you on the other side of the border, and then from there they'll bring you to your car at the airport or your house or wherever it is. But I didn't have a car. I flew out from the place where I am right now, Grand Prairie, so thankfully after I crossed the border, I actually had a friend of mine that picked me up on the other side in BC and then took me to the airport there. But that is my journey. If you guys have any questions, definitely reach out. Definitely. I was going to share my screen and show you guys where I crossed, but I don't think I see that option. So that's okay. But if you guys want any more information or like, you know, if you guys plan on traveling anywhere and what you can do, currently from Bahamas. Man, I want to be in Bahamas. Yeah, let me know. I don't think that you guys have the quarantine laws when you go into the States. It's only a Canadian thing as far as I know. But that's why if you look at like our COVID restrictions in Canada, they don't let you do the antigen test. They want you to do the PCR test because it takes 2 to 3 days for you to get your results. So they do that in order to get away with putting you in a hotel for 2 to 3 days when the antigen test would work just as good. So sorry if you're watching this Canadian government, but your rules don't make sense. Anyways, hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for joining. Reach out if you guys have any questions. And don't fly into Canada. Cross the freaking border with your feet and everything will be better. Have a great day, guys. Bye.